2.
Well, here we are again.
Here we are.
Here we are again.
This is
We don't have your name.
Still Black Sketches.
Still Black Sketches. We're going to do a little scan. We got some grids here. We do have some work that is very flat, and we don't really know what this is at first gaze, right? Tell us about
They
it.
are collages. They are collages. And these are all in, again, they are presented in a grid. This is a exhibit that Anne really curated all by herself.
Right.
And we have a grid of 20 on these two walls here.
Mm-hmm.
And I will be honest, the reason we have 20 is I do, again, these 20 are all together. But that is the biggest space I have in my studio.
Well, I was
on
going
the
to talk
floor.
about
So it is a
the fact
matter
that you
of this
work
is
in a
how big
small
I did.
space.
And so
Yeah.
what I've done though is I start with doing it. You will see the black, these are all a black ground. So unlike the drawings that I've been doing, which are on a white ground, these are all on a black ground. And when you lay paper or color onto black, it pops in a different way. It doesn't have luminosity to it like it does if you were using a white ground. And so all of these
let's clarify that for a moment. And that's not because you have the darkness behind it, or are you talking about the reference of this, horizontally, or like on the same plane as that?
I think that it's
white versus black.
Well, I think in this case that the color pops in a different way. That the black is dominant where white recedes, and it gives you a light that is just it's lighter, a light that's lighter. But white does that to it, and so it just deals with color.
Maybe the color seems more saturated.
It does a little bit, but it also is dull in a little bit of the way. And what I do is I'm making these collages, and I don't throw anything away. So I'm keeping all my scraps and everything. I also, Jeff and I subscribe to way too many magazines. We have lots of books. So I will either take, here I've got a piece that is actually from a de Kooning, actually from excavation.
You can't recognize
and so I've just taken that. I've taken things out of that way. I still am using a lot of tearing as opposed to, because I do like the rough edge. And I think that sometimes this group is not necessarily defines it, but you could see that the little white hesitations on the paper, it just gives it a little bit more of an expressive quality to it.
So are you saying this is all magazine copy?
No, these are all, the colored sheets are literally colored Xeroxes. Okay, I take construction paper or whatever color and I copy it in color.
Okay,
and
because
then
it does
I just
kind of have that construction paper color.
But it's
to
not
it.
construction paper. And that's because I need to put color on top of a white sheet so that when I tear it, the core is white.
Yeah,
it's not
and you would
black.
have more
And
density of material.
Yes.
It would
And
read
that is
very differently.
That is exactly.
If we had.
And some of these are old drawings that I had that were just
Oh no!
hanging around, so we just kind of gonna make with it. But so anyhow, every one of them has kind of and I do them
you mean
individually.
this is an actual drawing?
Well, that's a copy.
Oh, it's everything is a Xerox.
Yeah.
Everything,
but from a drawing.
A copy of.
And I
something
don't
else.
necessarily. I'm working on this one. I'm not thinking about this one.
No, one
So
at a time.
I finished this one, and it's finished when there's just that satisfaction. Visual satisfaction to it. It's not that I need to make sure that there's the last.
It's your vocabulary.
It is my
You've been
vocabulary.
working with
It is
this
my
kind of
vocabulary.
vocabulary for a long time, but then when you say this is one grouping, are you building it as you're moving along?
Do. No,
Are you looking at the other ones?
I make 5, then I make another 5.
But are you looking at them?
I am. They're on the floor. So I cannot deny that I see them.
Okay.
And that I already made them. So I do know something.
Right.
There's a little bit of history.
Right.
There's a little bit of memory that says, oh, I've done this. I also will, and I'll show you
And
the
you
others.
do a variation because
Yes,
you've done
yes.
the last one. way.
And it's a little bit
I
about
can
color.
see that with those two.
See, and those two do work together. I will agree. They really
But
do.
there's very
This
different-
one though is happens to be that this paper and this
I
paper
know.
were from the same sheet, and that they come down the relative element that's convenient to both of them, or there's just this little bit, so that line draws your eye down.
There isn't, you have made the decision to keep a white border.
Yes, that I did too. And I don't know why, except that it kind of, we frame the drawings in white frames instead
I
of
know,
black frames.
I know.
And it gives you a subtle hint of boundary, but yet if it's placed on, this is on a gray wall, so it's not a great example, but if on the white wall, it just kind of blends in. It doesn't
It kind of
necessarily
does,
make.
it would be that is from the original black Xerox.
Yes, yes,
That is
yes.
where that white line
Yep.
originates. But you're deciding that you want to keep that grid in there.
Yeah, and it does work well with the grids. I have, this
Especially
is,
when you scale up, the grid that white gets smaller. Well, some of it's
this,
gone.
yeah, this piece is truly a diptych, and these are
Great
two
one.
pieces, sorry, Deborah got it.
I know.
She's
It's
got
okay.
it.
I'm
No,
allowed to
This is a diptych,
moan.
and like the diptychs I do in drawing, this just happens to be one. I did this one, and then I did this one, and then I looked at them together, and I thought, I don't want anything else around them. I want this to just complete
Yes.
itself.
Right.
And again, it's
And
just
it's
the
very
little things.
interesting, because that just
Yeah,
starts,
it
heading out of
and then
there,
it
and it
comes
would have
across here
been
and-
all contained and boxed in a different way.
So this is the only one that's truly a diptych. Now, this is the installation I did. It's 7 feet by 14 feet. And I've done this before. And this is the only way that I, as a collage artist and also as an artist with a small studio, can work big. And it's referential to, it's an installation rather than just a mural. Which
Right.
mural is usually one idea that is drawn out and is invested as one idea. This is meant to work individually as well as together. And each one of these, if you look, is actually 20, the row is 8 rows of 20 pieces. So they're all from the grid idea, but they're just presented in a very
4 by
linear
5 in a
way.
different
And
way.
you can see them like this one right here. Here's the positive piece, this shape here, and then we come down here, and as you can tell, I saved the negative, the other parts, so I made a negative that's the exact same.
Now that you've done that,
And-
I'm just gonna spend all my time
trying to
trying to
figure that
puzzle
out.
it out,
Trying
yeah.
to figure that out.
Yeah. But now, did Anne, in her curatorial expertise, decide which pieces were going
No,
next
it
to
is
each
totally
other?
random, and
Okay.
when it goes, actually Deborah, who represents me in Chicago,
Yes.
she wants this. It can be installed anywhere in any configuration. So it doesn't have to be 8 rows of 20. It can be whatever would
Oh,
fit
this
into
could be
whatever.
anything.
It could be whatever you want it to be. And there is no right or wrong, though I will say that sometimes I look and I think, oh, I'm glad I put that next to that. But it was probably more happenstance than it was
Yes,
intentional.
and there's
And-
enough similarity in a way that there's so much verticality going on, and then you're like, oh my
And
God,
some of
there's a
them too,
horizontal
again,
one.
just like over at the other one, this orange and this orange, but they're actually 2 different kinds of orange, but they
Yeah.
they blend together well. You know, this one comes down here and it has a little suggestion here, but that's
Right,
just
the white,
the way
the
my
white
language works.
borders are less too,
Mhm.
and that's part of it, isn't it?
Well, there's a little bit of
That-
overlap
That one tried to make it over there.
there, but it didn't quite
It
make
didn't
it.
measure
Didn't quite
up.
make it, you
Didn't
know?
make it.
And I will say that I think it's, I have no intention when I'm making these, I just start and I start ripping up paper. Now, Anne looked at this one and she said Motherwell.
Yeah,
And I don't
okay.
think of Motherwell that much,
I
but
can-
I can see where she
I can
sees
see
it.
it.
And so,
But talk for a minute about when you're working, are you working to find a very flat way? Are you, because a lot of times there's one on top of another thing. Now, a couple of them do have something circuitous,
Yep,
like
there's-
that green one. That's almost a rarity.
It is.
So
I think
spatially,
I
are you?
want to build the
staying-
surface. I want to build the surface.
You're staying on the
Yep.
surface, basically.
And I think that the black being the ground pulls
Yeah.
things so that there's a depth that is just based on color.
Yeah.
Meaning black. The other thing is that it also
Well, it's
sometimes
very consistent.
I
give
look
you
at
that.
shapes. Sometimes the shapes are large for just out of the blue. I'm very satisfied. This actually is a piece of blue tape. I didn't have a piece of blue that I wanted right then and there,
You
but I had
cheater,
tape.
you.
So I did cheat, and so I just put that in there. But the basis of collage is that you can put anything
Of
together.
course you can.
You can blend all those
Right,
things. And
right.
I think that it's important. Now, what Anne did want is that she wanted this to be,
Right.
this is very confronting. And so here we have this wall. She literally told me for over here that at first she said I could have one piece.
Yes.
And I said, oh, that's just not enough. And she said, maybe 2 or 3. And she said, but no more than 6. So we have 6 over here. And again, we've offset it because the peripheral
It gets you.
distractions
I know.
are
Even
not,
that
we don't
one
want
is
that.
so strong, and it just got so much black,
Yeah.
so it reads. But yeah, I want to take this in as what it is, without kind of going, oh, what's over there?
Yeah, yeah. That
You
was
know?
her intention, and that's, I think,
Mhm.
why it's such a successful curation of this work, is that it really does just lend itself to what is the elephant in the room. It's this,
Well, it's
but
a
we want to
great
see.
space
It
for it.
It is. This
You
is,
know.
and again, I think that's what a lot of people don't understand when people are curating an exhibit, and Anne and Jeff both not only know the space but know me, but they have thought, okay, this, and one of the things that we did is in this, because we have a rather low
I
ceiling.
know, it's
So
not even 8
it's
feet.
much better for us to start at the top and end down here, so
Right.
that it's not flat to the floor. Now, if we were at the museum where we have 18, 20-foot high ceilings, I would start at the bottom and go up, because I would want you to feel more like you're walking into it. Here, you're sitting, you're an observer. We have a bench here so that you can sit and just kind of take it in. And you can have a favorite, you can have one that doesn't necessarily do much for you. But
So-
again, it's untitled so that you can
Let me
address
ask you a
the
couple other
experience.
things,
But
just because of my own inquiries. Like, you do create a mass with your grid.
Mhm.
So, have you considered not doing that? Having random pieces or columns or aberrant ways of these pieces
one of our friends,
interacting?
Alex, who's a photographer, so she's she likes grid, she likes the
A lot
but
of us like the
she
grid.
really wanted us to have them. If someone buys one, they take it right off the wall, and
Love
to
it.
document as it goes along
Exactly.
the negative.
Mm-hmm.
And just to see, not necessarily that there will be any pattern going on, but just that randomness. And there's a lot of artists that do that.
Right.
That they have literally
Right.
just thrown things to the wind, and as they fall, that's where they are. And that's what conceptual is. Mine is not so much conceptual, but it is an installation. It's an installation of works that are meant, and were made individually, but meant to work together as a community.
Well, if you would have given them away for free, you would have had that.
I guess I would have, but Deborah wants them, so she gets them. Deborah gets what she wants, just like you get what you want.
I'm the proud
Thank you.
owner of many.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes. So thank you. I mean, we're in good shape, I think.
Yeah. Thank you so much, John.
Thank you.
So
It's been a
interesting.
privilege, it has, and
It was
we
fun.
love it. I
It
love
was
being
fun.
able to have it up. I mean,
Oh,
as an
I
artist, you
know.
know,
I know.
it's not possible in our house to do it, but this is what the project space is all about.
Exactly.
To
It's
explore
really grown into
and
a
to see what
beautiful
works for
installation
artists'
space.
works. So-
And I just got to say that I love the way you two play off each other. I think that this is like a future talk show or something. I love it. So, all right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.